The 1960s were a golden age of automotive design. Tail fins were giving way to muscle, European elegance was influencing American iron, and the roads were full of some of the most gorgeous machines ever built. The Jaguar E-Type, the Ferrari 250 GTO, the Ford Mustang. But for every masterpiece there was a disaster. For every sculpture on wheels there was something that looked like it was designed by a committee of blindfolded engineers who had never seen a car before, and honestly maybe some of them hadn't. Today we're celebrating the ugly, the awkward, the what were they thinking? Moments that somehow made it off the drawing board, past the executives, past the marketing team, and somehow, onto the dealership floor. I'm talking about the ugliest cars of the 1960s. Buckle up. This is going to be a rough ride. Coming in at number 10, we have the Triumph Herald Coupe. The standard Triumph Herald wasn't exactly a beauty queen, but the coupe version somehow managed to make things worse. The front looked fairly normal for the era, but then your eyes moved toward the roofline. The proportions seemed completely off. It looked as if somebody had taken two different cars, cut them in half and welded them together. What made the design especially strange was how narrow and upright everything appeared. Most sports cars of the 1960s tried to look sleek and exciting. The Herald Coupe looked more like a compact economy car trying to pretend it was sporty. Even fans of British cars often admit this wasn't Triumph's finest moment. Sitting at number 9 is the AMC Marlin. The AMC Marlin was supposed to be a stylish fastback that would compete with sporty American cars. Instead, it looked like a whale. The biggest issue was the roof. AMC designers stretched the rear glass so dramatically that the car appeared top-heavy from almost every angle. It had a massive humpback profile that made it impossible to ignore. What's interesting is that AMC genuinely believed the Marlin would attract younger buyers. But many people simply couldn't get past the unusual shape. Today, it's remembered less for performance and more for its bizarre appearance. At number 8, the Citroën Ami 6. If you've never seen an Ami 6 before, prepare yourself. This French compact looked unlike anything else on the road. The most controversial feature was the rear window, which was angled backward. Not sloped downward like most cars. Backward. The design was intended to improve interior space while keeping the roof low. Technically it worked. Visually? That's another story. Many people describe the Ami 6 as looking like it was designed in reverse. Even decades later, it's one of the most polarizing automotive designs ever created. Some call it innovative. Most call it ugly. Coming in at number 7, the Chevrolet Corvair Greenbrier. The Corvair Greenbrier was Chevrolet's attempt at creating a futuristic van. Unfortunately, futuristic doesn't always mean attractive. The Greenbrier had tiny wheels, slab sides, and proportions that made it resemble a rolling refrigerator. From certain angles it looked less like a vehicle and more like an appliance. To be fair, it was practical. It could carry passengers and cargo efficiently. But practicality doesn't guarantee beauty. And when parked next to other vehicles from the 1960s, the Greenbrier looked completely out of place. At number 6, the Ford Anglia 105e. Many people recognize the Ford Anglia because it appeared as the flying car in Harry Potter. But nostalgia can't hide its unusual styling. The Anglia featured a backward-sloping rear window similar to the Citroën Ami 6, but paired with sharp, boxy lines. The result was a car that looked confused about what it wanted to be. Was it futuristic? Was it old-fashioned? The answer somehow seemed to be both. Its tiny size and exaggerated proportions gave it an appearance that many people found charming, while others found absolutely ridiculous. Either way, it definitely wasn't winning any beauty contests. Now for the top 5 ugliest cars of the 60s. At 5 rests the Rambler Classic. The Rambler Classic wasn't ugly because of one shocking feature. It was ugly because it was aggressively boring. The design seemed determined to avoid excitement at all costs. Every line was bland. Every angle was safe. Every styling decision felt like it came from a committee that feared creativity. Compared to the dramatic fins and bold designs of the era, the Rambler Classic looked like a car designed by accountants. Sometimes ugly isn't about looking strange. Sometimes ugly is simply being unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. At number 4, the Renault 10. This car had one major problem. Its proportions made no sense. The front overhang stretched outward awkwardly while the rest of the vehicle remained narrow and compact. It almost looked like the front and rear sections belonged to completely different cars. The headlights sat in a way that gave the car a permanently surprised expression. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Drivers appreciated its practicality and fuel efficiency, but very few people bought a Renault 10 because they loved how it looked. For number 3 we have the Subaru 360. The Subaru 360 was tiny. And when I say tiny, I mean tiny. This little Japanese microcar looked more like a toy than a real automobile. Its rounded shape earned it nicknames that weren't exactly flattering. Some people compared it to a ladybug. Others compared it to a bubble with wheels. While it played an important role in Japan's automotive history, its appearance often made it the target of jokes. Standing next to full-size American cars of the 1960s, the Subaru 360 looked absolutely microscopic. And that only made its unusual design stand out even more. With number 2 comes the AMC Ambassador. AMC appears on this list again, and for good reason. The Ambassador tried to look luxurious and upscale. Instead, it looked awkwardly oversized. The front grille seemed far too large for the rest of the car, creating a face that many people compared to an oversized mouth. The body itself lacked the elegance found in competing luxury sedans. Everything felt slightly exaggerated and slightly out of proportion. It wasn't terrible in every respect. But when buyers could choose from much more attractive alternatives, the Ambassador struggled to win people over. And now, it's time for number 1. The car that many enthusiasts consider one of the ugliest creations of the entire decade. The car that takes the crown is the Chevrolet Corvair 95 Rampside. At first glance it almost looks normal. Then you notice the side. The Corvair Rampside featured a giant fold-down loading ramp built directly into the body. Functionally it was brilliant. Visually it was astonishingly awkward. The asymmetrical design made the truck look unfinished, as though somebody forgot to install part of the bodywork. From certain angles it seemed almost broken. Yet Chevrolet intentionally built it that way. The Rampside became famous because it prioritized utility over appearance in a way few vehicles ever have. And while practicality deserves respect, beauty was clearly not the priority. That's why many people consider it one of the ugliest vehicles of the 1960s. So what do you think? Did I miss any truly ugly cars from the decade? Was one of these vehicles unfairly judged? Or is there another 1960s design that deserves the crown for ugliest car ever made? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because I've got plenty more classic car rankings, forgotten automotive history, and incredible vintage vehicles coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.